Okay, and so that kind of brings me up to my next question. Let's say you sent your resume, you've applied. Now is the most important thing, and this is huge, and I can actually talk about this quickly in my experience here. But basically, the next part is your patience and your follow up. How long does it take to hear back? If should I wait a few days to hear back? Could it take 2 weeks and I still get the job? Do I follow up the next day? Who do I call? What do I do to make sure that this person has seen my resume? And so the first thing would be, how long do I wait? Want to tell me how long should I wait to hear back?
All right, so frustration, which is what I'm sensing that you had a lot of.
Right, I did.
First of all, you have to, understand that the current labor market as well. That
Right.
plays a huge role in how effective and how fast you're gonna receive your interviews.
And that was exactly why those two companies were the only ones that were like, yeah, we'll hire you right away. I didn't take days to get back to me. Sometimes it was a day, and the other one was like maybe a couple of days.
Well, let's use that as an example.
Yeah.
You were probably looking at the job around June, July, around that.
Yes.
Okay.
Of this year.
And you were in a college town.
Yep.
So most college students went back home.
Yeah, everyone.
They
was
left
just,
the market.
So it was a supply and demand
Yes.
issue, is what I saw. So specifically for Starbucks, I applied for Starbucks. I wanted to see where that would lead. Got an interview about 2 days later from applying. Did the interview. They said, hey, we'll give you the job today. And I was like, wow, that was really easy. Why? Why was it so easy?
There was nobody else competing.
Nobody else. Yep.
You're again. You have to understand what's happening in the market. And as a college graduate, you just want money. You just want your next job. You want
Right.
to get the career before you're going to leave the dorm. You're going to graduate. Right now, this time of the year, you're facing two things. We're in November, so you're facing the holidays. You're facing a slower economy overall.
Right.
Hiring. If you read any of the news right now, Twitter's laying off a lot of people.
Yeah.
Microsoft is laying off. A lot of companies are laying off.
Yep.
What is that signal? When the big ones are laying off, that means there's a problem in hiring, and there's a problem in the economy overall, which will be affecting recent graduates in your job search.
Correct.
So that you have to understand that you have to be patient, because if it was taking you the 6 months before to get a job, now it's going to be a lot longer.
Right.
And now you're going to be competing with more people, because now there's going to be layoffs.
So that was a supply and demand issue, which was, let's say Starbucks is the reason why that job was really easy to get.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't take a lot of experience. I remember specifically, I didn't even cater my resume. I just sent in whatever resume I had at that point, even if it was a couple years old. I just sent something in, and they didn't even care.
Now the other thing with retail is called for O'Reilly, and the other one is they're under heavy stress because not many college graduates do not want to go back
Right.
and work. They have a degree now. They want a
They
corporate job.
want to go. Yeah.
So that's the other reason why you had it. And, besides the supply and demand, as we mentioned, you also bypass the online job boards and the online databases, and you went in person.
I just went in person.
So
yeah.
there's that physical contact,
Right.
which in my generation, back when I graduated,
That was the only way to do it.
that was you picked up the newspaper and you picked up the phone and you started calling, faxing. You would go to the bulletin board at the university, call up a human, and send in your resume. And we used to even mail it back then. So two competitive advantages that you had at Starbucks and O'Reilly. Now, in terms of how long does it take, you have to be extremely patient. It could take, right now that we are in November and December, you will not hear back probably until after the holidays. It's like a rule in the industry. Most hiring does not get done until then. Sometimes you will, but sometimes you won't. The majority of the time you will not get hired, or at least a callback. The other thing is the frustration. You're not receiving emails. You're not receiving phone calls. It's like you're sending this resume off to the world, but nothing's happening. And you're eager to hear, like, what am I doing wrong? I would highly suggest you guys contact the human.
Right.
One advantage that your generation has that my generation did not have, is Google, is the search engines.
Yeah.
Information is out there. You just got to find it, and it's very easy to find. If you want to work at a company or at a school, you need to go and find out who's hiring for that position.
Right.
And then you need to start calling. You're going to go through a lot of gatekeepers, and you need to bypass those gatekeepers to get to the person.
Yeah.
How you did that, which I suggest that you call the university, you apply for a university job. How did you get past the gatekeeper?
So, I applied for this job. It was a digital media job. Good pay, great job. Yeah, all the benefits. It was a great job. So, and this was a job that I was like, yeah, this is exactly the type of job I'm interested in doing. Let's say I wasn't currently working right now, that would be the one that I'd go with. And so I called, spoke to a gatekeeper. This was a guy that's basically the contact that you would send your resume to. He doesn't actually make a hire, but he just gets your resume. So he will filter out anyone that's not important. But this is the crazy thing that happened, is that I called him, sent in my resume, applied for the job. He gets back to me. He says, "Yeah, it's all good."
Did he even read your resume? Like, did he know?
So that's the thing. So he gets back to me. He's like, "Yeah, it's all good. I like it." And I told him over the phone, "Hey, I have X, Y, and Z experience. I want to get an interview." He's like, "Let me get back to you on that." Took about 3 or 4 days. I called him again. He said he was going to get back to me in like 2 days. Never did. I call him thinking, hey, this was, he's not going to get back to me. So I call him and I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, oh, yeah, I've been super busy, X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, so am I going to get an interview? He's like, well, let me talk to the guy that actually makes the hires and we'll figure it out. So now a week goes by and I've called him 2 or 3 more times, left him a voicemail, just kind of been following up just to see what's going on. I finally, like 2 weeks after I applied, get a call from him saying, we want to interview you. Now, I'm thinking, this guy has seen my resume. He's obviously gotten a bunch of calls from me. I'm the qualified guy for this job. So we go to the interview, and at the interview, I come to find out that the first time they're seeing my resume
is that day.
is that day as they're interviewing me. And I asked the guy, I'm like, well, why would you interview me if you haven't seen my resume? He's like, well, because you kept calling. You wouldn't stop calling, and you followed up. And he's like, that's the kind of guy we want in a job like this. And we don't get that too often. And so that was one of these interesting cases where it's like following up over and over again was great.
And that's the answer to this question. Okay, your patience, your frustration, nobody's getting back to me. Do not just send a resume. You have to call. Google is your best friend.
But
search.
What happens if, let's say this particular guy that was gonna give me the interview, let's say he doesn't respond at all from my resume that I sent as an email, and I never had called him. Let's say I give him one phone call, nothing happens. What do I do? If I'm losing hope in this job, but I really want it, what do I do?
Find another person
that works there?
Yeah,
find somebody
so you
else?
have to get past him and all other gatekeepers.
Okay.
And you got to find the other person. I wouldn't say you keep being so pushy. You're friendly. Hey,
right.
Look, I've already left you so many phone calls. I would just appreciate if you send me an email or a phone call and just let me know, hey, we're not interested, or hey, we already have the people, so that I don't waste my time and I don't keep wasting your time.
Right.
I think people, as busy as we are, we understand, hey, courtesy, let's give this person send an email or a phone call. You gotta be persistent. You're the one looking for work. They're getting a lot of candidates. They're viewing a lot of things. In your case, they're not even reviewing the resumes. Why did you get the job? Because you kept calling.
Right.
You have to do that. Even after you get the interview, you got to keep calling, because they'll tell you we get back to you. They forget, or they keep interviewing.
Right.
Guess what? You might have other offers, or you need to know so you can move on.
Yep.
You need to call.
Okay.
You need to get on the phone and call. That personal contact is what's going to make the difference between you and other people. And that's what he told you. He said, we gave you the interview because you're the only one that called.
Okay, that makes sense. So I think that covers all of our topics for this video. In the next video, we'll have a few more topics on this, and because this went on for about 6 months, so there's a lot more to talk about. And then hopefully we'll see you in the next video.